Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome back to the past paper practice sessions. In last class, we discussed and verbally solved the question number 2 part B, which was of around 18 marks, right? So now let's move forward towards the question number 3. Okay, so in question number 3 is that the chief executive officer CFO has received an internal audit report on the credit control department. The credit control function is centralized and the department is based in PVS head office. The CFO has asked you for your assistance in preparing a report. Okay, so basically CFO also mentioned this in the board meeting as well, that I have received a internal audit report on the credit control department, and that internal audit report has some control deficiencies identified, right? So CFO is now asking you to assist him in preparing a report. What kind of report? Prepare a report, and we know that how much important the format of the answer is for our professional marks, which number one assesses the implication of each of the internal control weakness identified in the credit control department. So we don't need to identify the any of the control weakness. Okay, they are already being identified in the internal audit report and they are presented to us. So what we have to do, we have to assess the implication. We have to assess that what will be the implication, like if the control weakness is identified, how it will have the impact on our business, how it will create a problem for us, for our business growth, revenues, profit, customers, anything. And the other thing is that recommends appropriate control to mitigate these weaknesses. Okay, so overall we are given 20 marks, and along with the professional skills mark, which are available for demonstrating analysis skills, because we have to assess the implications in considering the findings of the internal audit report, reflecting their implication and recommending the control to mitigate the weaknesses. Okay, so 4 marks for the professional skills. So total it is 24 marks divided by 2, it will give us 12 points. So 12.6 for the implications and 6 for the recommendation. So this is how we are going to cover our 24 marks with the 12 points, right? So let's move forward and read the exhibit number 4, which was provided for the internal audit report. Okay, so down here we have the internal audit report. Let's start and read it. That internal audit report introduction. This report was requested following following client complaints about communication received from the credit control department staff during the period January to April 2004. So basically what has happened, that the client has complained to us about the communication from the credit control department staff. Okay, and based on those complaints we have conducted an internal audit, and based on that audit we have come to know about the this report, which has given us the results of the internal audit on the credit control department. Objective. What was the objective of the report? The credit control department is responsible for administrating PVS healthcare plans. Basically the healthcare plans which we offer to our customers. Okay, the credit control department is basically responsible for administrating them. The purpose of review was to assess the effectiveness of the control within the credit control department. Okay, the credit control department should ensure a balance between receiving client payment in a timely manner and keeping clients satisfied. So the credit control department has a duty that they should not be too much aggressive in recovering the amount that they dissatisfied the client, and they should not be so much lenient with the client that they do not recover the money of the company. So they have to somehow maintain a balance between recovering the money from the client and satisfying the client as well. So there might be the scene that the credit control department would have been so aggressive or maybe a bit unethical with the client for the recovery of the amount, right? So that is why the client would have made a complaint to us. Let's move forward toward the main findings. In main findings, we have the documented credit control procedures have not been updated for 5 years, and there is no formal timetable for invoicing, sending reminders for amount due, chasing unpaid amount, passing overdue debts onto outside agencies for collection, or taking illegal action. These steps are taken on an irregular basis following ad hoc reviews by the credit control department manager. So the conclusion of this paragraph or the finding is that the credit control department has nothing formally documented. Nothing has been done formally with the predefined timeline. There is no job description. There is no responsibility to anyone, right? Then when the number one thing that the invoice would be issued, when the reminders would be sent, when we will chase the unpaid amounts, and when we will do some action for the overdue amounts, like we are going to sell the receivable to outside agencies to recover them, or we are going to pursue a legal action or legal proceedings to the customers who are not paying our debt. So there is nothing formally documented, no formal procedure or the timeline for these all procedures. The credit control department is doing all these things based on its own convenience, and the review has been done by the department manager on a very ad hoc basis. Ad hoc means the irregular basis. So this is the issue, and what we need to identify, we need to identify the implication, that what implication could be on part of the business, that what the disadvantages or what harm there would be to the business if this would continue, and how we can mitigate this thing. Client details held on the PVS servers, including sensitive financial information, are not protected. All staff can access the information once they have logged on to the PVS system. So they are telling us that the client details, including the sensitive financial information, are not protected, and all staff can access this, right? The person who has no relation to the finance team or the receivable team, maybe it's the person from the HR team. Why the hell this HR boy or the HR girl has the right to access this information? What the point of that person of accessing the information? There is nothing which useful in this information for these person, right? There is nothing useful for the fixed asset register person. There is nothing useful in it in the treasury department boy. So why the irrelevant people are accessing to the client sensitive information? Moving forward, staff turnover in the credit control department is high. Temporary staff recruited to provide short-term support have been given insufficient training. They are setting up new clients on the plan incorrectly and making mistake in invoices they produce. They are setting up new clients on the plan incorrectly and also making the invoices incorrect, making the mistakes in the invoices they issue. Obviously, because they are not trained. Permanent staff are having to deal with angry clients, rectify the mistake made, and work extra hour to clear the ongoing backlog of the work. So there is the issue that the staff turnover is high, and short-term employment has been done without the insufficient training, and they are selling the plans to the client with the incorrect information, and also they are making mistakes in making the invoices, and due to which the clients are angry, and the permanent staff has to face all this all the music. Moving forward, our plans provide vaccination and routine treatment for a monthly fee and enable client to defer the cost of expensive treatment. To join the plan, clients complete a form with their personal and bank account detail and immediately becomes member. Okay, they are not provided with any plan documentation. Some of the terms of the plan were amended earlier this year to improve PVS cash flow. For the member joining after 1st March 2004, payment for expensive treatment and procedures can only be deferred for 1 month rather than 3 as was previously the case. But the clinic reception staff could continue to inform the client signing up to the plan that the payment can be deferred for 3 months as the changes have not been communicated to the reception staff. So if I would conclude this paragraph that there is a case that the expensive and costly treatment or the vaccination, your client can option that he or she will be paying the amount or the fees of the treatment or the vaccination in 3 months later the after the treatment. But and the other thing is that the client is not provided any details of the plan. Okay. Now, due to some cash flow issues, PVS has made few changes in its plan. And what are the changes? Changes is that the previously client can pay in 3 later months. Okay, 3 installments. But now client has to pay the fee of the treatment or the vaccination in 1 month. But the receptionist is not aware of the thing because it was not communicated to the receptionist. That is why the receptionist is communicating to the clients still that the payment can be made in 3 months. So this is the issue. Let me highlight few points for our notice that the alright. So the last point, plan member who have not kept up their monthly direct debit payment or have not paid invoices by the payment deadline continue to be offered deferred payment for further invoices by reception staff. So those clients which are not giving you or not clearing the previous invoices, we are offering the credit terms or the deferred payment plans to these clients again and again and again. This is some sort of stupidity that the person is not giving you the amount. It is making you pay, making you take the battered loss, and still you are giving them the plan. The policy should be that the client which has the overdue balance, that client should not be given the for any further deferred payment plan. Rather, it should be given the on cash payment, or I would say the real time payment option, that if you need any further treatment or the vaccination, you make the complete full amount payment right now and have the treatment. But first you have to clear the last deferred payment so that you can have the next deferred payment plan. Otherwise, no more deferred payment plan for you. Till then, pay in cash right now. Okay. So the audit opinion is that the control departments are not effective. So this was basically the findings of the internal audit report, and now we have to find out the implication on our business, that how it will be affecting our business, what the problem we will be facing due to it. And we have to also provide the recommendation. For the recommendation thing, I am very sure that we are now pro in it, that whatever there is not happening, we will be saying it should happen, right? So we just need to know how we are going to draft it. So I'm giving you like 15 minutes, or you can say 20 minutes, draft the answer, and then we will discuss it with you and we will see what we are up with the answer. So time starts now. Okay, so now I believe that you all have drafted the answer, and now let's move forward and have a discussion that what the answer should be, and let's see if you have any significant difference, then you can discuss them with me. So for the finding number 1, see, I have drawn the format here for you, that we are required to draft a report to the CFO from external consultant. Subject is internal control weakness, and you can also write that and mitigation. So the mitigation action as well, and the date thing, and moving forward the introduction, and we are now pro in it, that how we are going to write the introduction. Introduction is a very simple thing, that this report assess, that is also coming from the requirement, that this report, because we are asked to write the report, assess because we were asked to do the assessment, right? And from here to here, it is all from the requirement. We will copy and paste it from the requirement. So done with the introduction part. Now you are required to write the weakness or the limitation and the recommendations. So number one. Now let's move up and see what we had for the finding number one. So the finding number one was saying that the internal control procedure have not been updated since last 5 years. So this is the issue that if they are not updated and there is no formal timetable for invoicing and reminders, chasing the undue customers and selling the long outstanding receivable and doing any legal proceeding for to recover these receivables. So what will happen? It will happen that number one thing, that the credit control department cannot perform its duties properly because there are no formal policies and procedures. Number two, the recovery of the debt will not be in an efficient manner because if you are not timely invoicing, the due date will not come on the time, right? And if the due date is delaying, so your cash flow issues are increasing because you will get the cash flow later. And number two thing is that if you are not chasing the customer to pay the amount, you are not sending the reminders to them, right? So you will not be recovering the amount at that time, and this will ultimately have you the cash flow or the working capital issues, right? And due to which the company have to bear the working capital cost, which is obviously significant in these kind of businesses where you are providing customers the option to pay in the installment or the 3 months, right? So these will be the issues. And the other thing is that these steps are also reviewed on the irregular basis and following the ad hoc reviews by the credit control department. So this will ultimately lead to the losses, bad debts, and the delayed payment and the working capital issues and the working capital cost to the company. So now let's draft this answer. Okay, so now see how simply I have drafted the answer that I have copied and pasted the point number one here, that the credit control department has no procedure and no procedure has not been updated since 5 years. There is no timetable for invoicing, chasing, reminder, and everything, right? And after that, I have just simply mentioned the fact that we just discussed that it will result in department not being able to perform its role properly because responsibilities and duties are not properly defined and formally documented. Obviously, when these are not properly defined and documented, no one knows who should do what work, right? And ultimately, what will happen? Ultimately, it will result in the bad debt, late recoveries, working capital issues, and increased working capital cost. Okay, so these are the implications on our business. Very simple, very straight. What is the recommendation from your side? The recommendation is that that simple thing is that these policies and procedures should be updated immediately. Number two, the formal policies, procedure, roles, and responsibilities, and the timetable for each thing should be documented. Right. So I am drafting this thing. So now, in a very simple wording, I have written that it should be the policies and procedure should be updated immediately. And the other thing is that the formal policies, procedure, and responsibilities and roles should be documented formally, and it should be circulated as well. You are not supposed to only update them and keep it to yourself. Circulate it to all the relevant members or the staff of the credit control department, and it should be circulated and implemented from the immediate day, right? That is not that we are either just making them and keeping to us, or we are circulating but not implementing. We should make the policies and procedure, circulate them immediately, and also start implementing on them as well, right? So this is how you are going to give the implication, and after the implication you are going to just simply what is not happening, and you have to tell that it should be happening, right? Let's move forward towards the number two point. The number 2 point is the client details held on the PVS servers, including sensitive financial information, are not protected. So what can happen? The issue is that these are not protected. They can be, a cyber security attack or cyber security theft or hacking. These kind of things or the viruses could attract them, and these data could be, misused by any of the person outside the environment organization. And the other thing is that all the staff can have the access to it. So why they are accessing it? The two issues are there. That the one is that there can be changes made to the data, that is sensitive information, and any change, even a minor one, would have a significant impact. So there can be changes made to the data, or the data could be misused by the internal or the external people who in a very harmful manner to the client. And ultimately, what will happen? It will happen that we will be facing the legal proceedings from the customer or the client whose data has been breached for the confidentiality, whose data has been misused, and we will be facing the fines, penalties, losses, and the legal proceedings. So this is what we are going to document in our answer. Okay, so again, in a very straightforward wording, I have mentioned here. Again, the first thing, we have copied it from the exhibit, the finding, and now we are telling the implication that this could lead to the data theft, hacking, data breaches from outside organization. Also, since all the staff, even those which are irrelevant, can access the data, therefore there can be any unauthorized changes to the data or even the misuse of the sensitive financial data of the customer. Okay, so this could happen, and ultimately, if it would happen, what will be the result? The result would be these all can happen. The trust would be loss of trust, right? The customer's trust which it has placed in us by sharing the confidential data, and if any of the above thing could happen, the trust of the customer would be lost, right? So I don't know why it's happening. Let me just wait so that it become, yes, now it seems normal. No, it is not yet. Is it? Yes, now it is normal. We can face the fines, loss of our reputation, losses, maybe our license could be seized. We can face the penalties, we can face the legal cases and the legal proceedings and all the costs and efforts in facing those legal proceedings, right? What should we do? It's a very simple thing. The customer data is not protected, we should protect it. How we can protect it? You can place a proper security, cyber security checks, firewall, antiviruses, strong passwords, right? And there should not be access to everyone. There should be access to only authorized person, and these authorized person should have the user ID and the password with only they should know, and these passwords should be regularly updated. Very easy. So this is you are going to mention. If it is not protected, protect it. How? And okay, so these all things I have mentioned here. So now let's move forward towards the second finding. See, I would say, except for the part A, the requirement number one, A and B, these were a bit lengthy. But rest of the paper, I have been noticing that it has been very easy. So it is just that you have to get involved in the scenario, and then you have to you should know that which requirement has been the which requirement is referred to which exhibit, and then you can extract the information and draft your answer. So now the third point is that the staff turnover is very high, and due to which short-term employees, there has been no training in it, and they are selling the incorrect plans, making mistakes in the invoices, due to which the customer clients are angry. And to correct this, the permanent employee has to face the client anger as well, and they are working late nights just to rectify these errors. What could happen here? Again, it's very easy. Now, I want you to draft this, and I believe maybe you have drafted it because I gave you sufficient time for it. So now let me just mention in a very brief way. So the implication of this internal audit report finding is that due to this, we are number one, we are selling customer incorrect plans, okay, and we are making mistake in the invoices. So due to this, our customer will be dissatisfied with us. We might lose our revenue because if we under invoice, okay, and due to the incorrect selling of the plans, we will have issues in the future, and client will get dissatisfied. So you will write this thing here: loss of revenue, losing our clients, okay. What can happen? What other thing could happen? The other thing could happen is that the since we are, these all are the things which are done by the temporary staff, so the permanent staff has to face the anger of the client and have to work late hours. So either you have to pay them the overtime, it will increase your cost which you were saving by not providing the training to the newcomers, right? So ultimately the cost is incurring and you are facing the losses. So there is a chance that the permanent employee will also leave us. So, all right. So these are the things which could happen. So how we can mitigate it? The simple way to mitigate is either do not appoint the short-term employees. Then, sir, how we are going to bridge the gap or the requirement of the employees which we are having? So you have to somehow motivate your employees. You have to do the CSR activities so that your staff turnover ratio decreases and the efficiency increases. And also you have to, once you will not be hiring the short-term employees, there will be no mistakes and the error. And if there is no mistakes and error, the permanent employee has to work late hours to rectify the mistake or has to face the angry customers, right? So this issue can be resolved like this. So this is the thing that the short-term employees. So this is what we have drafted in a very simpler and easier wording. What we have just discussed. So what has not happening, we will say do it and you will have the mitigating factor. Now, moving forward towards the fourth point. The issue in the fourth point is that the company has made a changes to its plan from the 1st March 2020 20x4, that the company will not be giving the 3 months plan now, it will be giving only 1 month plan. But the receptionist does not know about this. So the thing is that if the receptionist does not know about it, it will communicate the customers or the clients about the previous or old um, program or the plans, right? And due to which, what will happen? The client will, when the client will come to know that the program is not for the 3 months and it is for 1 month, there would be a lot of fighting and the chaos with the clients, and maybe they would disagree to pay it in 1 month, or if they are paying it in 1 month, they would be dissatisfied and they would not take the services from you in the future. So ultimately, you could lose your revenues and the profits. So this would be the implication of this point on your company. And what could be the mitigating factor? Mitigating factor could be that you should you should communicate the plans update to the receptionist properly, and there should be a documentation that acknowledgement from the receptionist that she or he has received the update about the plans, and forms, they should also be updated as per the new plans, and the customer should also be shared the plan copy so that customer should know from the day one that what is the plan, so that in future there is no issue like this, that the customer is in a mindset that the plan is for 3 months and we are of the mindset that the plan is for 1 month. So there should be no inconsistency or misunderstanding, right? And for the last point, that we have uh, plan member who have not kept up their monthly direct debit payment or have not paid invoices for the by the payment deadline continue to be offered deferred payment for the further invoices of the reception staff. So the thing is that those clients or the customer which have not cleared their invoices up till now, they are still offered the deferred payment plan for the next or the subsequent services. This should not happen, as we discussed earlier. So you should, because if it will happen, the number one thing, you are not getting your previous debt. There are high chances that you will not get the subsequent invoices as well, the payment for the subsequent invoices. So this will ultimately result in the loss of the revenue and the efforts in chasing them and recovering them, and then legal proceeding and all of this. So the pattern is that you should train the receptionist staff to have the recovery, have the list of the client who has the overdue balances, and those clients which have the overdue balances, they should not be offered the um, plans or the deferred payment option, right? So these 2 points I'm leaving it for you. You should draft it and send it to me, and I will see if they are correct or not. And you can also follow the same strategy what I have been following here. Copy and paste the issue from the exhibit, and then tell us the implication, that what is the implication, how it is affecting the business, and then ultimately you can say that this should be the mitigating factor as discussed in the class. So I hope that I have been able to explain the whole paper with you, and we have been able to know how to draft the answer, and this will ultimately help us in the upcoming attempt. So best of luck to you all, and keep the practicing and keep it up the good work which you are doing by doing a lot of practice, and best of luck. See you in the next lecture. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.